Hello everyone. Have you ever looked up at a stormy sky, heard the thunder rumble, and felt the sheer raw power of the heavens, or perhaps gazed into the silent depths of a forest, feeling the ancient, unknowable wisdom that permeates all things? What if the very forces behind these primordial experiences, the kings of their respective pantheons, were to collide? Today we're not just exploring a hypothetical brawl. We're diving deep into the very essence of cosmic authority, strategic cunning, and the raw, untamed power that defines divinity. We're asking the question that sparks endless debate across realms and ages: Zeus, the King of Olympus, against Odin, the Allfather of Asgard. Who truly holds the ultimate sway? Who would emerge victorious in a battle? Forget what you think you know about simple brawn. This isn't just about who can throw the biggest lightning bolt or wield the sharpest spear. This is a clash of cosmic philosophies, of leadership forged in different fires, of power manifesting in profoundly distinct ways. It is a showdown between the storm wielder who seized his throne through sheer force and the knowledge seeker who sacrificed an eye to peer. The answer isn't as straightforward as it seems, and by the end of this journey, you might just find your entire perception of divine power challenged. So buckle up, myth lovers, because we're about to peel back the layers of legend and uncover the profound truths hidden within these epic sagas. Before we plunge into this monumental conflict, if you are as captivated by the untold stories and the raw power of ancient myth as we are, do us a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. It helps us bring more of these epic tales to you. First, let us turn our gaze to the resplendent peaks of Mount Olympus, to the thunderous reign of Zeus. He is the undisputed sovereign of the Greek pantheon, a figure of awe-inspiring majesty and terrifying power. His very presence commands the heavens, his voice, the thunder, his wrath, the bolts of lightning that can shatter mountains and vaporize foes. But how did he ascend to such dizzying heights? His story is one steeped in generational conflict, a testament to the brutal cycle of power struggles that defined the earliest ages of Greek mythology. Born to the Titan Cronus and Rhea, Zeus's destiny was shadowed by a terrifying prophecy. Cronus, fearing a similar fate to his own father, Uranus, Phi, overthrown by his children, Phi devoured each of his offspring at birth. One by one, Hades, Poseidon, Hestia, Demeter, and Hera disappeared into their father's gullet, a horrific testament to Cronus's paranoia and his attempt to defy the unyielding grip of fate. But Rhea, heartbroken and desperate, hatched a plan with Gaia, the Earth Mother, and Uranus, the Sky Father. When Zeus was born, she presented Cronus with a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes, which the unwitting Titan promptly swallowed, believing it to be his newest child. Zeus, meanwhile, was spirited away to the island of Crete, hidden in a cave on Mount Ida, nursed by the nymph Amalthea, and guarded by the Curetes, who clashed their spears and shields to drown out the infant god's cries, lest Cronus hear them. This clandestine upbringing was not one of pampered luxury, but of strategic preparation. Zeus grew to godhood in secret, his nascent powers blossoming with each passing year, fueled by a deep-seated determination to reclaim his lineage and avenge his swallowed siblings. It was a slow burn, a quiet storm gathering its devastating force. When the time was right, a plan was enacted. With the aid of Metis, the Titaness of wisdom, Phae, whom he would later tragically consume to avert another prophecy. Zeus administered a potent emetic to Cronus. The effect was immediate and cataclysmic. Cronus violently regurgitated his children, not as infants, but as fully grown deities, eternally grateful and ready to join their younger brother in a war of... This was the dawn of the Titanomachy, a war that tore the very fabric of the cosmos for a decade. On one side stood Cronus and his formidable Titan brethren. On the other, Zeus, his Olympian siblings, and crucial allies he strategically freed from Tartarus, the Hecaton chairs, hundred-handed giants of immense strength, and the Cyclopes, master smiths who forged Zeus's signature weapon, Phae the terrifying thunderbolt, a weapon that would forever define his reign. This was no mere skirmish. It was a cataclysmic struggle that reshaped existence. Mountains were hurled, Oceans boiled, and the very sky was rent asunder by the raw, unfettered power of gods and titans alike. Zeus, wielding his newly forged lightning bolts, was a force of nature personified, a blazing storm against the ancient stoic might of the Titans. His thunderbolts struck with devastating accuracy, each one a peal of divine wrath, a testament to his burgeoning supremacy. The culmination of this war saw the Titans defeated and cast into the abyssal depths of Tartarus, forever imprisoned. Zeus, by right of conquest, and by lot fey, for he drew the skies, while Poseidon claimed the seas and Hades, the underworld Fae became the undisputed ruler of the cosmos. He took his seat on Olympus, establishing a new order, a new era. His reign was characterized by a powerful, albeit often turbulent, justice system, where his decrees were law and his judgment final. He was the guarantor of oaths, the protector of hospitality, and the ultimate arbiter of fate among gods and mortals. Zeus's power is not merely physical, it is symbolic. He embodies ultimate authority, the very concept of kingship. He is the sky, the air, the storms, Fae omnipresent, all-encompassing. His thunderbolts are not just weapons, they are extensions of his divine will, capable of striking down foes, smiting cities, or simply announcing his presence with a shuddering roar that echoes across the world. He controls the weather, can transform into any form, and possesses immense physical strength. He is swift to anger, quick to punish, yet sometimes capable of surprising mercy. His rule, while occasionally challenged by his own impetuousness and amorous adventures, has remained steadfast for millennia. He is a god who demands respect, often through fear, and wields a power that feels primal, direct, and overwhelmingly potent. But Zeus is not without his flaws, flaws that often led to cosmic drama. His notorious infidelity, his temperamental outbursts, and his sometimes cruel punishments painted a complex portrait of a god who, while supreme, was far from perfect. Yet it is this very imperfection, this very human-like blend of greatness and foible that makes him such a compelling, formidable figure. He is the patriarch, the ultimate decision. Now let us journey north, beyond the tranquil Mediterranean, to the frost-bitten, mist-shrouded lands of the Norse, to the majestic halls of Asgard and the enigmatic throne of Odin. The Allfather, as he is reverently known, is a figure of profound mystery, immense wisdom, and chilling determination. He is not merely a king, he is a seeker. His path to power was not one of direct, thunderous conquest, but of relentless self-sacrifice, ceaseless quest for knowledge, and a profound, melancholic understanding of an inevitable, foretold doom. Odin's origin story is as stark and primordial as the Norse cosmos itself. He is one of the three sons of Bor and Bestla, born in the vast, empty chasm. Along with his brothers Vili and Vafe, he slew the primordial giant Ymir, whose colossal body they used to create the 9 realms. His flesh became the earth, his bones the mountains, his blood the seas, his skull the sky, and his brains the clouds. From the ash and elm trees they carved the first humans, Ask and Emble breathing life and spirit into them. Unlike Zeus, who rose from the ashes of an overthrown dynasty, Odin was a creator, a shapeshifter of primordial chaos into ordered existence, a world builder from the very beginning. But his dominion wasn't established through brute force alone, or through a single, defining war like the Titanomachy. Odin's power is predicated on a far deeper, more agonizing pursuit. He understood, perhaps more acutely than any other god, that foresight and understanding were the ultimate weapons in a universe destined for Ragnarök, the twilight of the gods. This obsession led him to unimaginable sacrifices. Perhaps his most famous sacrifice is the loss of his eye. To drink from Mimir's well, the fount of all wisdom at the root of Yggdrasil, the world tree, Odin was forced to surrender an eye as payment. This was no mere token. It was a piece of himself, a visual testament to his insatiable hunger for insight. He literally traded a part of his vision in the physical world for unparalleled clarity into the unseen, the past, the present, and the dimly perceived future. This act alone, defines his approach to power, not given but earned through painful personal cost. His remaining eye gleams with an intense, often unsettling, intelligence reflecting the vast knowledge he carries. His quest for wisdom didn't end there. In a truly harrowing ordeal, Odin hung himself from Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights, pierced by his own spear, Gungnir. From this self-inflicted torment, he gained mastery over magic and potent runic spells, a mystical power known as Seidr. This wasn't merely learning. It was an act of cosmic self, immolation, a journey to the very edge of existence and back, for the sake of understanding. This type of power is vastly different from Zeus's innate, thunderous might. It is cultivated, deeply personal. Odin is the Allfather, the leader of the Facer, but he is also the wanderer, often disguised, traversing the realms, gathering intelligence, testing mortals, and observing the currents of fate. He is accompanied by his 2 ravens, Hugin, Thought, and Munin, Memory, who fly across the 9 realms daily, bringing him news and insights. His 2 wolves, Jerry and Freki, are his loyal companions. His magnificent 8-legged steed, Sleipnir, born from Loki's trickery, carries him swiftly across sky and land, even into the realm of the dead. And then there is Gungnir, his spear, forged by the dwarves, a weapon that never misses its target and upon which oaths are sworn. It is a symbol of his authority, a tool of war, and an instrument of prophecy. Odin's power is thus a complex tapestry woven from raw strength, profound wisdom, potent magic, and strategic foresight. He is a god of war, yes, but not a berserker. He is a strategist, a battlefield orchestrator, choosing those who fall in battle to reside in Valhalla, preparing them for the ultimate. He is also a god of poetry, inspiration, and ecstasy, a shapeshifter and a master of disguise. He embodies the paradox of a wise leader burdened by the knowledge of an inevitable, tragic end, constantly seeking ways to mitigate or understand his destiny. So we have Zeus, the thunderous king, the embodiment of raw, overwhelming power and unquestioned authority. And we have Odin, the enigmatic Allfather, whose power flows from profound wisdom, painful sacrifice, and a mastery of magic and prophecy, constantly battling a predetermined fate. The stage is set. Let's imagine the impossible. Zeus versus Odin. Where would such a battle take place? What powers would they unleash? Picture this: a cosmic arena, neither Olympus nor Asgard, but a neutral, ethereal plane, a swirling vortex of stardust and ancient energies, where the very laws of physics bend to divine will. The air crackles with anticipation. Before us stand these 2 titans, each radiating an aura of supreme power, yet so distinct. Zeus, magnificent, cloaked in storm clouds, his eyes blazing like twin suns. In his hand the master bolt, pulsing with contained cosmic energy, threatening to rip reality asunder. He stands tall, a figure of pure, unadulterated might, a king whose presence alone commands the very elements. His expression, one of regal confidence, perhaps a touch of Olympian disdain, as if daring his opponent to challenge his millennia-old supremacy. Across from him, Odin, not as physically imposing as Zeus, perhaps, but radiating an ancient, chilling intensity. His wide-brimmed hat obscures half his face, but his single, luminous eye pierces through the illusion, seeing beyond the... He leans on Gungnir, the spear, its tip glowing with an otherworldly light, a weapon of unerring accuracy and mystical power. His ravens, Hugin and Munin, circle above, silent witnesses. His wolves, Jerry and Freki, crouch at his feet, their eyes mirroring their master's focused resolve. Odin's expression is one of profound calculation, a mind already many steps. The silence is deafening, pregnant with the unspoken challenge. Then Zeus makes the first move. With a roar that shakes the very foundations of the ethereal arena, he hurls a thunderbolt. This is no ordinary lightning. It is a primal force, a spear of concentrated celestial fire, capable of pulverizing mountains and reducing entire armies to ash. It streaks across the void, a blinding white streak, a testament to raw, unbridled power. But Odin is not surprised. His single eye, having seen countless futures in Mimir's well, has already anticipated this. With a swift, almost imperceptible flick of Gungnir, he deflects the bolt. The spear acts not merely as a shield, but as a conduit, absorbing the colossal energy for a split second before redirecting it, not back at Zeus, but into the void where it detonates harmlessly, yet with a reverberation that rattles the cosmic fabric. It is a masterful display of defensive magic and strategic economy of movement. Odin understands that meeting brute force. Zeus, momentarily surprised by the deflection, frowns. He expects his opponents to be overwhelmed. To cower, this Allfather, however, stands firm, seemingly unfazed. A second, third, a volley of thunderbolts follows, each more furious than the last, arcing across the void, turning the arena into a light show of divine fury. But Odin, with Gungnir and the ancient Seidr magic woven around him, continues to parry, to deflect, to absorb and dissipate. His defense is an impenetrable wall of wisdom and foresight. He moves with an economy of motion that belies his power, a dance of anticipation and counteraction. Each parry is a silent statement. Your power is immense, but predictable. Then, instead, a wave of ancient, chilling magic, of Seidr, emanates from him, a spiritual assault. This magic isn't about physical destruction. It's about manipulation, illusion, and the warping of perception. It seeks to bind, to confuse, to delve into the very mind and spirit of Zeus. Hallucinations begin to shimmer at the edges of Zeus's vision. Cronus re-emerging from Tartarus, Gaia rising in ancient fury, the Furies whispering curses, images of his own failures and fears. It is a mental siege, a direct assault on the Olympian's arrogant self, assurance. Zeus, accustomed to physical challenges, roars in frustration. He tries to dispel the illusions with his sheer divine will, with bursts of thunder that crackle around him. The illusions waver but do not break completely. Odin's magic is subtle, insidious, designed to sow discord from within. This is a clash of distinct power types. The direct, explosive force of Zeus against the nuanced psychological and magical dominance of Odin. Zeus, realizing his initial straightforward assault is insufficient, unleashes his full Olympian wrath. The very sky of this ethereal plane darkens, charged with titanic energy. Billions of volts of electricity surge, forming a colossal superbolt, a focused beam of pure destruction, far beyond anything he hurled before. This is the thunderbolt that felled Typhon, the monster of 100 heads, the bolt that could split the earth itself. He aims not just to defeat, but to utterly obliterate. Odin, however, has not been idle. While deflecting Zeus's fury, he has been weaving a complex tapestry of runic magic as the colossal superbolt descends. He thrusts Gungnir forward, but it is not a block, it is a... From the spear's tip erupts a counterforce, not of energy, but of anti-energy, a nullifying field empowered by the ancient runes he learned from his self-sacrifice on Yggdrasil. This field doesn't just block, it unravels. The superbolt, an epitome of raw creation, begins to fragment, to dissipate into pure potential energy, its focused fury losing cohesion. The sheer scale of the energy clash is breathtaking, a cosmic fireworks display of unimaginable proportions. The arena groans under the strain. But Odin has another trick up his sleeve. While Zeus is momentarily distracted by the dissipation of his ultimate attack, Odin's ravens, Hugin and Munin, swift as thought and memory, dive in. They aren't attacking physically, they are performing a spiritual reconnaissance, a psychic probe, feeding Odin real-time data on Zeus's mental state, his battle patterns, his vulnerabilities. Odin's wolves, Jerry and Freaky, meanwhile, act as extensions of his will, manifesting as spectral guardians, perhaps creating temporary diversions or disrupting the raw energy around Zeus, drawing his focus. Zeus, though powerful, has a notable weakness, his temper, his arrogance. He might be the king, but he often underestimates those who do not wield power as directly or as overtly as he does. He is used to overwhelming, not outmaneuvering. This is where Odin, the master strategist, would truly shine. He doesn't just fight, he analyzes, he adapts, he exploits. He uses the very environment. Zeus, when truly enraged, can take on a form of pure energy, a living storm radiating destructive force. In this state, he becomes almost untouchable, a vortex of cosmic energy. His thunderbolts become extensions of his being, striking from every direction simultaneously. He would be a maelstrom of divine fury, a force of nature unleashed without restraint. Odin, in turn, can tap into his full Allfather potential, not just through Seidr and runes, but through a connection to Yggdrasil itself. Drawing upon the cosmic energies of the 9 realms, he could manifest as a figure of ancient, primordial power, a conduit for all knowledge, all magic. His spear Gungnir would become more than a weapon. It would be a conductor of fate, a tool for reshaping reality. His ravens and wolves would become extensions of his perception, his wisdom, his very will, acting in perfect synchronized harmony, making it impossible to strike him without striking at the interwoven fabric of his being. The question then becomes, can raw, overwhelming force overcome calculated, all-encompassing wisdom and mastery of fate? Zeus's power is in the moment, in the thunder. Odin's power is in the long game, in the tapestry of destiny, in knowing not just what will happen, but why and how it can be subtly nudged or redirected. Perhaps Zeus would attempt to bind Odin with the very chains of his Olympian authority, to imprison him in some divine Tartarus. But Odin, having hung from Yggdrasil, having willingly entered the realm of the dead and returned, is no stranger. His magic is of a different order, often involving spiritual and mental freedom, a fluidity that might resist Zeus's more rigid, physical constraints. Conversely, Odin might try to ensnare Zeus in a web of prophecy, to show him a future where his own reign crumbles, not by Odin's hand, but by the very forces Zeus himself set in motion. He might invoke a vision of a new titanomachy, or this would be Odin's true weapon, psychological warfare, using knowledge as a corrosive agent against Zeus's confidence. Zeus, for all his power, is deeply susceptible to prophecies, often trying to avert them, as he did by swallowing Metis, or tragically fulfilling them through his own actions. Consider the ultimate weapon of each, Zeus's master bolt, a weapon of cosmic devastation, capable of rending the very fabric of existence against Gungnir. Odin's spear, which never misses, but also more profoundly, a spear imbued with the power of oaths and destiny, a symbol of sovereignty that binds and upholds. Would Gungnir aim with Odin's infallible foresight, be able to penetrate Zeus's elemental form, or would Zeus's absolute dominion over the skies simply overwhelm Odin's magical defenses in a sustained all-out assault? The clash would be one of attrition, but not of physical endurance. It would be an attrition of will, of foresight, of strategic depth. Zeus's raw power is immense, seemingly endless, but often blunt. Odin's power, while less overtly explosive, is deep, insidious, and constantly adapting. It is the difference between a tsunami and a slowly rising tide that inexorably reclaims the land. Could Odin, with his mastery of Seidr, transform Zeus, perhaps into a lesser being, or bind him in a form that Zeus has certainly transformed others out of spite? This type of magical transformation, however, is deeply ingrained in Norse mythology. A skill Odin possesses in abundance, but transforming the king of the gods, that would require immense power and a moment of supreme vulnerability from Zeus. What about Zeus? Could he simply rain down so many bolts that no defense? However cunning, he has faced Jotun giants, Fenrir, the Midgard serpent in other contexts. He understands how to fight against overwhelming physical odds. His strategy would be to outsmart, to outlast, to find the unseen weakness. The core of this battle would be the clash between the immediate, undeniable force of nature that Zeus embodies and the subtle, all-pervasive destiny, shaping force that Odin represents. Zeus represents the now, the immediate consequence, the direct exercise of power. Odin represents the past, present, and future woven into a single, complex tapestry, the power of knowledge and the burden of foresight. In a purely physical contest, Zeus's sheer destructive output might eventually overwhelm Odin's defenses. His lightning bolts are described as devastating beyond measure. It is about outmaneuvering, outthinking, and understanding the deeper currents of the cosmos. Could he foresee the exact moment of Zeus's greatest vulnerability? Could he conjure a spell, a rune, an illusion so potent that it momentarily incapacitates the Sky Father? Imagine Odin using his knowledge of the 9 realms, perhaps even drawing power from the wellsprings of Yggdrasil, to create a Zeus, in his arrogance, might plunge headfirst into it, only to find his powers temporarily dampened, or his movements restricted by ancient binding runes. In that brief window, a well-aimed Gungnir, infused with Odin's ultimate will, could strike. Conversely, Zeus might summon the full might of his elemental domain, not just lightning, but hurricanes, tsunamis drawing on Poseidon's realm if this were a total cosmic war. But here we assume it is just Zeus. He might attempt to create a void, a literal vacuum of power around Odin, suffocating his magic, severing his connection to the cosmic energies he draws upon. Ultimately, a victory would be elusive and profound. If Zeus won, it would be through overwhelming destructive power, leaving behind a scarred reality. If Odin won, it would be through strategic brilliance, through understanding, through a mastery of fate and magic that transcended brute force. It wouldn't be a clean knockout. It would be a chess match played across cosmic dimensions where the ultimate checkmate isn't always about destroying the king, but about rendering him powerless, nullifying his reign. Perhaps the true victor would be neither, but the concept of power itself redefined by their clash. Zeus's power is the power of the natural order, raw and untamed. Odin's is the power of imposed order. One governs through primal force, the other through sagacious manipulation. They are two sides of the same coin of divine authority, yet utterly distinct in their execution. So, who would win? The answer, as is often the case with the greatest myths, is not simple, and perhaps not even absolute. Zeus, with his immediate devastating power, might land the initial crushing blows. But Odin, with his foresight, his cunning, and his profound mastery of magic, would likely be prepared for such an assault, deflecting, absorbing, and waiting for the opportune moment. It's a battle of the direct versus the indirect, the explosive versus the insidious, the sovereign of a triumphant dynasty versus the burden seeker of ultimate knowledge. Zeus is the storm, Odin is the deep ocean, quiet, but holding unimaginable, ancient power within its depths. The outcome hinges on a crucial factor: the rules of engagement. If it is a test of raw, unfettered destruction, Zeus likely holds the advantage. His thunderbolts are literal world enders. But if it allows for strategy, magic, prophecy, and psychological warfare, the very tools Odin has honed through millennia of self-sacrifice, then the Allfather's chances skyrocket. He has traded an eye for the insight to beat seemingly insurmountable odds. Perhaps the only way such a conflict could truly end is in a stalemate, a mutually assured exhaustion, or a profound realization by both gods that their powers, while different, are equally foundational to the cosmos they inhabit. They might inflict catastrophic damage upon each other, only to recognize that their clash threatened to unravel the very fabric of reality for all living beings. Such a devastating war might only conclude with a reluctant truce, forged not out of respect, but out of the sheer terrifying understanding of the other's indomitable will and power. This isn't just a fight. It's a philosophical debate playing out on a cosmic scale. It's the question of whether raw might trumps wisdom, or if calculated foresight can overcome even the most overwhelming force. It challenges our very perception of what power means, pushing us to consider the intricate dance between destiny and free will, between brute strength and intellectual supremacy. That is all for today's video, Myth Explorers. If this journey into the heart of divine conflict has sparked your imagination, if you've enjoyed unraveling the threads of power and destiny with us, please show your support. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your fellow myth enthusiasts, and make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you don't miss out on our next deep dive into the extraordinary sagas of ancient times. Your engagement fuels our quest for more untold stories. Thank you for watching, and may your own journeys be filled with wisdom and wonder. We'll see you next time.